Hi there, my name's Zanzi May, and I'm just going to get started with this is my first ever Periscope, having a little crack at this. The title of this Periscope is Goals, What's the Point? Obviously, if you are big with goals and you have got your daily, weekly, monthly, annual goals all sorted and you knock it out of the park, then you don't need to figure out what the point is. But there are a lot of us who sort of are like, yeah, I've heard about goal setting. I get that it's helpful for people, but I just I don't see the point for me. I don't think I need to set goals, or I don't know how to go about the whole goal thing. Or there's that some of us have a block or a sort of an icky resistance feeling because we've tried it in the past. Yeah, I've set a few goals and they never worked. I never achieved them, and it just feels like a big fat failure to me. So the whole goal word makes me just remember all the failures and all the times I've set a goal and it hasn't worked. So my hope in this Periscope is to sort of demystify this idea of what the point is in goals, and give it some sort of meaning, and then help you create a system by which you can start putting goals in place. So the idea of what's the point of goals, ideally, if you can stand where you are today, and look at your life going forward and maybe consider, in 1 year from now, if you look at your wealth, your health, relationships, or your contribution to the world, what you're doing for others, would you be happy in a year's time if you are exactly where you are today? Or would you like to shift things up? Would you like things to get better? Would you like to have more money in the bank account? If you look at, we'll start with wealth. Are you in a position right now where if your kids came home from the dentist saying they need to go to an orthodontist for braces, is that sweet? Is that something you can cope with? No problem at all. Got my finances in place. When Christmas comes and goes, is that something that's easy for you, or does it start creating a little bit of financial stress? Ultimately, are you in a position to cope with all of the everyday surprise bills and expenses that pop up, because they do pop up and they keep popping up? Would you like to be in a position where that is not a stressful situation for you? If that's the case, then there is a point to setting a goal around your finances. And again, you could look at your health. And, a lot of people around health, they equate a goal with like a weight loss goal. And I know for me in the past, I've had lots of weight loss goals, and it does have a sense of failure for me. I've tried lots of things and they haven't always worked, and it's just felt like, bleh. But you could also look at your health in terms of, are you moving your body as much as you like? Are you exercising as much as you like? Are you eating as healthfully as perhaps you would like to, or maybe need to for health issues you have? And is there a way that in a year's time you would like to be in a different position than you are right now? And if that's the case, then yes, there's a point to setting a goal. Relationships, quite often when you talk relationships, people get very stuck on the romantic side, but there's also, in a year's time from now, would you like things to be different, better, improved? Relationships with your family, would you like to spend more time with your friends? We get very busy in life, and months can tick by and we haven't caught up with the people who are important to us. So you could, perhaps set a goal around that and put a plan in place to improve that. There may be, just a relationship that you'd like to mend. There may be something that, doesn't feel quite right and you'd like to remedy it. And then contribution is one that people sort of get a bit stuck on, and there's two ways it can go. Ultimately, when we're in service of others, when we're doing good things for other people, it just feels good. And you'll hear people say it all the time, and on the big scale, somebody might have gone to Africa to help, give food to starving children, and they're like, it was just amazing. I saw these kids and it felt good to give them food, but boy, it felt good for me. I felt like I learned something, or I received a gift as well. And the trick about when you get into contribution, you don't want to get stuck in the martyrdom role where you're doing lots and lots for other people, but in the hope that someone goes, you sort of, I'm giving all this stuff to you. I really hope they think I'm amazing. I really hope people like me if I do all this stuff for them. You really want to come at contribution from a place of feeling I feel very full, I feel very blessed with my life, and I want to give something back. Without needing to get anything back from it. And that's usually when there's some sort of gift or something that you receive. Sort of, I'm going to go out on a limb and say like on a spiritual or soulful level. But that would be the point. We get very focused on ourselves, and particularly, even focusing on goals around health, wealth, relationships. They can be very me focused, and that's okay. But it's very important in life. There's a whole point to being on this planet. It's got to be more than just getting through the day to day. And sometimes it's helping ourselves do better, but also trying to help other people do better or have a better sort of quality of life. So going back to what's the point of goals and why would we set them, the point is to sort of try and give ourselves something different from what we've got right now. And if you imagine, I'll give you an analogy around going on a holiday or a vacation. So you might have the idea, we're going to take the family to Hawaii. That's awesome. So then there becomes planning that's required, right? So you want to go to Hawaii, so you need to start looking at airfares. You need to start looking at accommodation. Do you need child-friendly accommodation, or, are you going for like an action-packed holiday? What are the activities you can do in Hawaii for either, depending on what age group of people you're going on the holiday with? And you start flicking through the things, checking out your budget, figuring out how you can make it work, whether you need to save or earn a bit more to get there. So the planning stages start to get you to that holiday. And then as time ticks down and it turns to, it's the week before you go away, and you start figuring out the planning of getting yourself to the airport, right? Have we got our passports and our visas if you need them? Are we going to take a car? Are we going to book a taxi? Are we going to get a friend to drop us off? Whatever those plans are in place. And that's kind of like the analogy of a goal, right? The goal is getting to Hawaii and having a holiday. And then all of the finer points are the plans that you put in place to achieve your goal. And you can't just say, right, I'm going to go to Hawaii and just hope it happens. There has to be a planning and some action taken to get there. And then, imagine you're in the car and you've got your friend who's going to drop you at the airport, and you've budgeted your time and scheduled it so that you get there in plenty of time for the final check-in, and you hit the main road and there's a roadblock, there's a terrible accident, or something's happened and the road's closed. You certainly don't sit there and go, oh, well, that was a really nice idea. We were going to go on holiday, but the road's closed. We can't go. May as well just go home. You hit the roadblock and you're okay. Plan B, let's take a detour and go around this street, that street, and come back onto the main road further down. And you might keep hitting roadblocks all the way along, but the fact is you've got your goal, you've got that marker, that beacon of the holiday that we really want to go on. So you keep striving and changing the actions you take to get to that final point. And the problem we have, like in a holiday, like the analogy of a holiday, it all seems very light. We're going on holiday, it's all very fun, great. And it doesn't even feel like you've set a goal, and it doesn't even feel like you've had to tick through action steps to get there. When it gets tricky is when it becomes personal, when we set our personal goals, whether they're health, wealth, relationship, personal goals. It starts to feel really heavy, and we get really hard on ourselves if we don't quite get to where we want to get to. We suddenly feel like, oh, it's a failure. I failed. I didn't achieve that goal I set. Why did I bother? I never achieved my goals. And so the thing that I would encourage you to do with goals is to look at them more from a state of not like a beacon of failure or success, but more just like a beacon of somewhere you'd like to try and get towards. And you're striving in that direction. And if you get somewhere close, then hey, at least you've gone further than where you're at today. And I think, failure makes us feel really heavy. And if you achieve a goal, whether it's a weight loss goal, yes, it feels like a success, or a financial goal, it feels like a success. But it doesn't have to be a failure if you don't achieve it. I really want to hit that home because I think that we equate that all the time. Goals just feel yuck when you don't achieve them. So give yourself permission to strive towards a goal and take the action to work towards it. But hey, if you don't quite get there, take a step and look back from where you've come and say, hey, I've gone somewhere. I've moved somewhere. I'm not exactly where I was when I started this journey. The other thing I want to touch on just quickly is around, there's an acronym, SMART goals. A lot of people talk about SMART goals, and that acronym stands for, the S in SMART is for specific, the M is for measurability, the A for achievable, is it achievable, the R, is it realistic, and the T from SMART is it time bound. And I know at Google they remove the A and the R from SMART goals. So they set goals based on, it's got to be specific, it's got to be measurable, and it's got to be time bound. And they actually do away with it being achievable or realistic. They actually try and smash through that and make almost ridiculously unachievable goals. And then they just try and celebrate how close they got to the goal that they set. And so I think that's quite good, because quite often if we start focusing on, is it achievable, is it realistic, we can really sort of wrap ourselves up in cotton wool and make things a little too easy. And the idea is to really stretch yourself a little bit. Just shoot for something a little more than you think you can do. And as an example, say you have a goal that you would like to have an extra $500 in your bank account each month. If you start thinking about what's achievable and what's realistic, you might already be working 60 hours a week. You might already be working 3 jobs, and it doesn't even seem fathomable that there's anything you could do to achieve earning an extra $500. But if you start shooting for, it doesn't even have to be realistic or achievable. I'm just going to shoot for it, and I'm going to find ways to do something different. That's when it opens up the level of possibility in your mind. And when things feel like there is no solution, there's a really cool thing, and there's science behind it, but I'm not going to get into that. But you just say the words, I wonder. I wonder, what I could possibly do to earn that money. And just saying the words, I wonder, it's like it sends a different message to your brain that, okay, we're not going to go through the same old files that we always go through to find solutions. We're going to go into the back office and find some other stuff. So it's like your brain goes to a different section of your subconscious and goes through things that you have never considered before. And so then suddenly it's like you're thinking outside the box, and different ideas come to you. You're like, I didn't even think of that. And it might be that you don't have to go out and work more hours to get an extra $500 in the bank, right? It might be that you start walking instead of taking the car, and you just start reducing your expenses. And that might not have occurred to you before. So if you get really stuck around this whole idea of setting a goal and I don't know where to start, just start looking at, those 4 areas, 4 areas. So around your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your contribution, and start looking, is there something I would like to shift in any of those 4 areas? That's the starting point. And then once you've sort of said, yeah, I would, throw something out there and then think through a plan of action. What could I do on a weekly basis to work towards that goal? What could I do on a daily basis to work towards that goal? And it might be, talking to extra people each day, just creating relationships. It might be, one I did for myself, I just wasn't seeing my friends as much as I'd like. So I started a book club. Our one rule of book club is we don't read books. But it was just like a social reason to get together once a month. We have book club and we all catch up. And it's amazing because I'm seeing friends, on a regular, consistent basis. And that just feels good. It's great to, hang out with your girlfriends and chat and laugh and do those things that are important. So that was when I had a little goal. I want to see my friends more. It wasn't hard to achieve, but I had to have the idea first and then figure out what could I possibly do to make that happen. I can't fit in hundreds of coffee dates every week. So book club was an idea that came to me and I thought, yeah, great. I don't really want to get together and talk about books, but that was the plan. So I hope this is helpful for you, and I hope it's created an idea of why goals are important and what the point is of a goal. If you want to be somewhere different in any area of your life from where you are right now, without judging it, but if you really want to go somewhere different, the first step is to create a goal around it and then build a plan to work towards that goal. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will be touching base with another Periscope soon, giving you some techniques and tools around how to remove that icky, sort of heavy feeling if you have that around past failed goals. I'll teach you a little trick to sort of dump that heavy feeling so that goals can feel lighter for you. Okay, thanks very much.